Hello everyone, it's Sal, Stretford Post. How you're doing? And welcome to another episode of Chatterbox. Hope you're doing good. Hope you're doing fine on this Sunday afternoon, guys. I know we've all recovered from the elements that was yesterday and all the noise that is surrounding it over this last 24 hours. It has been a bit of a hectic one, and it has been a lot of disagreements, arguments, and obviously debates between fans again. And obviously the toxicity comes along with that, of course, because everyone knows what the real problem is with Manchester United, isn't it? Or do they, guys? Because guys, before I'm not gonna say because yet, but before I start, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, smash a like to the video, and all that lovely stuff, guys. Thank you so much for joining me today, of course. Now, guys, look, Manchester United, of course, are going to be lining up new managers as we speak in regards to Ruben Amorim, Man United, in the possibility that Ruben Amorim could be sacked. Again, I mean, I can't believe we're in this position. But like I said, we have to be very careful what we wish for. Me, as supporting England as well as Manchester United and watching England under Gareth Southgate, England had the most talented, one of the most talented generations of footballers in recent memory since probably 2000, 2001, around that time. And Gareth Southgate was unable to get a tune out of those players. In fact, he was unable to play any kind of brand of football that would resemble a proper football team. Now, Manchester United are being linked with a move to Gareth Southgate, and this for me would be an absolute disaster. This would signify that we've thrown in the towel. We're not going to go for it anymore. Gareth Southgate will be the guy that will confirm, solidify mediocrity in the football club, I would say, if we brought a manager like that into the equation. Now, obviously, Gareth Southgate would want to come to Manchester United. Of course, he would want to come to Manchester United. Of course, he would want to try his hand. But Gareth Southgate is a politically correct, self-righteous softy, in my opinion, in regards to management. And he would not. I mean, look, I'm sure there'll be a lot of players there that would love Gareth Southgate at this football club. They would love him to come to this football club. They would love him to manage this football club. I'm sure there are those players at our football club right now who would love that, isn't it? Because at the end of the day, what it would equate to is them down, taking it easy, basically. Taking it easy, because there will be a lack of expectation, you know? Now, as I said many, many times, and I said this before, you know, people are not mentioning Ineos in this. Ineos have absolutely messed up. They bought a manager with a distinctive style of play, and they haven't backed that manager. And this is what people have to understand. The people throwing at the manager this, the manager that, you know, clowns out there just going on and on and on about the manager, have not really analyzed everything too extensively, because we're doing the same thing again. And it is Ineos that have failed. It's Ineos that have failed Amorim. And like I said before the season started, it's the same thing. It's exactly the same thing that we're going through. That what I said, that we're going to be throwing the manager under the bus. Yeah, yesterday Ruben Amorim done a lot of things wrong, and we've been talking about it for many, many weeks. But maybe, just maybe, if we concentrated on the midfield, why did we buy 2 number 10s? Why didn't we concentrate on the midfield? Why didn't we concentrate on the wing backs? Why did we have to buy 2 number 10s? Who wanted 2 number 10s? When the fact that we got Xerxes, we got Mount, we got Bruno in the team. You know, I mean, I know that they're 2 fantastic players, and I think Cunha and Mbeumo are fantastic signings. But isn't it a bit of a luxury to be signing two number 10s? Isn't that a luxury that we couldn't afford? You know, and this is what I would say about that. You know, Ineos are messed up. The Glazers, of course, are always going to mess up. And here we are today. Again. And I can tell you guys, you can talk about Glasner all you like. That guy is going to be thrown under the bus as well. You know, you think that it's all to be all rosy, but I guarantee you in 1 year's time, just like I said about Erik ten Hag, that you guys are going to be coming back here talking about how you want this manager at. You know, without even mentioning what I'm mentioning today, because this is exactly what it is. Every single manager has his flaws. Every single manager has his tactical ineptness, so to speak. So at the end of the day, we're going to get a new manager. This new manager, Glasner, will be coming into Manchester United, not Crystal Palace, Manchester United, and it'll be a completely different kettle of fish for him. Manchester United need a proper, experienced manager who is capable of making the big decisions at the right time. I'm looking at the pool of managers that are available. And I don't see any manager that strikes out to me as a magnificent manager. Ruben Amorim has achieved a lot more at 40 years old than what Glasner has in his whole career, and Areola. And this is what we're talking about here. So what exactly are we doing here, guys? Because we're going to get that manager in and we'll be here in a year's time. But by all means, do it. Because at the end of the day, I'm going to be proven right again. And this is the whole thing, isn't it? And I don't want to be proven right, but I am. Because at the end of the day, we know what happens as long as there's a certain bunch of players in this football club that won't budge, that are staying at this football club, a certain amount of players that are continuously down tooling. What can we do, guys? We're going to be in the same position again and again and again. And look, you could say sack your man, Jordan, right? I just don't think anyone changes this. I really don't. I don't think anything is going to change. I think they want Gareth Southgate because Gareth Southgate is going to say, right, I can get these 11 and I can get them playing football. What football? Because we know what Gareth Southgate is all about, don't we? We know that he bottled a final. We know that he got England to a final is the big argument that England have not met in a golden generation of England players, in an era of football, that there is no standout international team anymore. Not even Brazil are standout international teams. The only teams that can compete with England were the teams that beat England. And that's what we're talking about here. And people wonder, don't mind him, don't mind him, he might be all right. You guys are just lowering the expectation. It's ridiculous. Let me say hello to everyone. I hope you're all doing well. Welcome to the stream. Hope everyone is good, of course. Big up everyone, of course. Big up everyone. Big up Ephraim. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Good to see you. Good afternoon, Sal. Southgate news is true. Yeah, look, guys, what I would say is that Southgate is available. He's one of the favourites. Glasner is the favourites. But Glasner, is a soft manager. He's not going to work at Man United. It will be sack, 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 sack. Areola, Southgate, Glasner will be sack, 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 sack. That's what it will be. Absolutely. Sal, if we change the manager, we have to sack make the decision. You have to sack those as well because they're the ones who made the decision. And boy, oh boy, I would love us to sack those players as well because there's so many players on that pitch that should be performing. Maybe, just maybe, if we didn't have to renew Harry Maguire's contract, we wouldn't have to play Harry Maguire. And if we just replaced him with a competent player. And this is what we're talking about. We're having to make do with players that are flattered to see for many, many years now, and it's ridiculous. Ephraim South, the club culture ruining players and the managers, unless we change the owners, it will be difficult to see how we come back. We got to change a lot of things. Big up, Sal. How you doing, my friend? I hope you had a therapy Sunday. Look, Kenny, I expected this. I expected this kind of thing. It doesn't really bother me too much. What bothers me is because I know I support my team and I support my team through thick and thin, and I don't expect success. I started support Man United before we were successful, which is a lot that can be said about a lot of content creators and a lot of people that are out there at the moment. What I would say is that I'm disappointed by the reaction. I'm disappointed in everything. I'm disappointed in Ruben Amorim. I'm disappointed in the players. I'm disappointed in the ownership, the fans. You name it, I've been disappointed with. But you know what? Just had a chill day, mate. Had a chill day. What will be, will be. Because at the end of the day, look, everyone wants him sacked. Let him be sacked then. Get him sacked. Let him go. Like, what can we do? What can I say to you? It's nothing I haven't seen before. We know this. Those of us who got our heads screwed on know what's going to happen. There's no standout manager in European football right now that you can look at and think, well, yeah, he's that guy. He's going to be cooking. He's the guy who's going to take us forward. There's no standout manager. You name me one manager that stands out in your head that you think, wow, they're all underdog managers. Areola's an underdog manager. Glasner is an underdog manager. And then you're getting down to the realms of Gareth Southgate, and players of that ilk. There's no Ancelottis anymore. There's none of these players anymore, the managers anymore. There's no one who can take this team by the scruff of the neck and bring us to the promised land. There's absolutely not. We might as well forget that. Good evening, Anna Rich. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Good to see you. Hope you're good. Big up, William. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Sal, what's happening? Good to see you, man. All good, brother. Hope you're well. Southgate opponent will be the now in the coffin for this football club. Look, you know what I would say, Kenny? Look, it won't be as bad as people think, right? It won't be. But what will happen is that Man United, you could forget about major titles. You can forget about major titles. Gareth Southgate won't give you a major title. Gareth Southgate is the guy who stabilizes and just, keeps things at a level par. He'll never go that way. He'll never go that way. He will just keep things on a level par. That is what Gareth Southgate is. His club management record is atrocious. His claim to fame is being relegated. And that's what it is, guys. But of course, everyone knows better. Everyone thinks that they know better. Everyone thinks that they can get a new manager in there, and the new manager will bring, like Gareth Southgate, will bring Man United to the promised land, will win Champions League with Man United, will win league titles with Man United, because that's what we're looking at the moment. That's what we're looking at the moment. What has Glasner done to achieve? I mean, he won an FA Cup with Crystal Palace. Okay, that's great. Harry Redknapp won an FA Cup with Portsmouth. Does that mean that he should manage Man United? No, you know. Ephraim, big up Ephraim, by the way. Sal Chaos if Southgate gets the job. Big up Tyborg. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Sad seeing go. It's really sad to see Ahmed go. High hopes for him, but he was on the way for a long time. The problem is though, who will be bring in? No, but nobody's out there right now. The Southgate rumor scares me a lot. It scares me as well, Tyborg. Scares me well. I have a feeling that Ruben Amorim wants the sack. I think that he wants to get the sack. I think, like, looking at the team lineup, it was a perseverance mission that he wants to get sacked. And there are a number of problems at this football club, loads of problems at this football club that go way, way beyond the manager, Tyborg, you know. And one of them is our captain. And I would be leading with that. Whenever I talk about the football team, I will be leading with that captain. I'll be talking about that captain. It's a shame no one's mentioning Bruno. They're just mentioning the manager. You know, these players are throwing the manager under the bus. That team was good enough to beat Brentford yesterday. A Brentford team that have lost their manager, that have lost most of their players, and we should have lost 5 or 6-1. That's not down to the manager. That's down to those players on the pitch. Those are experienced international players. They down-tooled. And I know they're down-tooled. But who gets the punishment? Who gets sacked? It's the manager gets sacked. It's the manager gets blamed again and again. The manager gets blamed. But so be it. Let's do it. Let's get rid of him. And as you said there, Tybo, who's out there? We're going to get a Glasner. We're going to get a Areola, a Southgate, any one of those managers, and we will be here. Believe me, in 1 year, just like we said under Ten Hag, we will be here in 1 year talking about the same thing again, guys. And that's what will happen because we've been there before, haven't we? Big up, Tybo. Anuraj, so if Southgate is appointed, I'll stop watching United games. Look, at the end of the day, we're Man United fans, Anuraj, and I would always watch Man United. However, I would say that my belief in us actually challenging or actually doing anything of significance in the future would have decreased quite significantly. I would not have any hope. I would have no belief in Gareth Southgate immediately. I would not have any hope. My expectations would be so low, they'll be in the gutter. You know, Gareth Southgate's a sort of guy that will be the final nail in the coffin. You're actually better getting Sam Allardyce. Let me tell you that right now. This is why Sam Allardyce was the original pick for the England job before that scandal happened, if we all remember. There are many managers out there better than Gareth Southgate. And there's obviously, I would prefer Michael Carrick to Gareth Southgate. And I'm sure that these players would love Michael Carrick. They would love a Ole Gunnar Solskjaer reunion because that's what they want, isn't it? They want mates rates, a lot of those players. They want someone to put their arm around them, you know, someone to go out with them and have a good time. That's the sort of manager that they want. They're not willing to put in the work. This team, these players, many of them, 9 of them have played in the Europa League final, are not willing to put in the work. They don't want to put in the work. That's what they're not interested in success. They're interested in their pockets. They're interested in going home, relaxing, putting their feet up. They're not interested in Manchester United. You know, and this is what we have to say. If Ruben Amorim gets sacked, the captain needs to go as well. That useless captain, he needs to go as well. Most overrated captain I've ever seen in my life, in my footballing life. You know, he needs to go as well. And we need to move on from that. William, we all wanted Amorim to be the man, but we don't know how it works. Big up, William. Afternoon, Sal. I'm still hurt from yesterday's result, and I said this before. It's the players for me, not the formation, but the one only blame. The one we blame on Ruben on he is playing too many favourites. Ruben, as I said before the game, Joe. Big up, Joe. How you doing? Ruben, I said before the game, he's going to live and die on his sword, his own sword, and this is what it is. We know because we've been watching Man United for a very long time that these players are the biggest manipulators there is in football. They're liars. So these players that are currently at the football club that have been here a number of years have done this many times. They've lied. They pretended that they've been training hard. Remember when Benedict McCarthy, ex-Man United coach, striker coach, said that these players used to play very well in training. But when it came to match day, they would all of a sudden be a completely different player. And Benedict McCarthy could not quite put his finger on it. Why? I know why. Because these players pretend in training. They pretend in training. And then when it gets to match day, they down tool. So that, you know what, if they don't like the manager, if they don't like the system, if they don't like working hard, you know what we're going to do now, boys? We're going to get the manager sacked. And I believe this is what they're doing at the moment. They're getting the manager sacked. Again, here we are. And until we remove the poison apples in that dressing room, we are going to be in the same position. I'm not just talking about Rashford and Garnacho and Sancho and Anthony. There are far, far bigger bomb squad members in this team, including Luke Shaw, Maguire, Bruno Fernandes, Dalot. These are much more potent members of the bomb squad that have been completely ignored. You think about Luke Shaw. He played under Louis van Gaal. Louis van Gaal, I would say that he didn't sack him because he was injured, but he played under him, and Louis van Gaal lost his job. You think about Jose Mourinho. You think about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. You think about Ralf Rangnick. You think about Erik ten Hag. And now you think about Ruben Amorim. I'd like you to bring back to the days of Alex Ferguson. How many of those players have sacked managers? How many of those players there have collectively sacked managers? You could count every single player that were in Man United squad under Alex Ferguson. It's probably less than Luke Shaw as sacked managers. If you added them all together, it would be less managers sacked than Luke Shaw. No, so this is what I'm talking about. And people may say, but that doesn't have a direct effect on the football team. Of course it does. It goes to show you that you could get away with it. You can get away with it. You are not going to be sacked. You will keep your job. You will keep your contract. You will still play for Man United and the manager be gone. That is the cultural problem at the football club that I'm trying to emphasize and trying to talk about, that people don't want to listen to. They just want to think, oh, get the manager out. It's this, manager that, manager this, manager that. And that's a very low IQ about pulling things. You know, I can calm down and I can analyze things for what they were. And Ruben Amorim's made a lot of mistakes. Of course he has, but he's not incapable. I've come to the conclusion he no longer wants to be here. He no longer wants to be here. He no longer wants to be at this football club. I've come to that conclusion that enough is enough with him. He thinks that, you know what, I'm going to take my 12 million and I'm gone. And do you blame him? Do you blame him? Was he backed in the summer? I said before the window shut, I said that Ruben Amorim should walk if he doesn't get backed. We got a 4 or 5 out of 10 window, guys. A 4 out of 5 out of 10 window. And he was not backed. So I'm not surprised that Ruben Amorim is down tooling. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised that he's doing what he has to do. Like he said a couple of weeks ago, there's more problems at this football club than meets the eye. There's things going on in this football club that many people don't know nothing about. And we don't. We only know the outside of it. We don't know the core problem of what is going on at this football club. And boy, oh boy, I wish I was a fly on the wall, because I would love to know what the problems are at this football club, because there are many. And it's not just the manager, because we've been here before. Of course, the manager is the one that will be sacrificed, regardless, even if he wants to go or not. He will be the one to be sacked. I find it very strange. We haven't heard nothing from Ineos. I know it is Sunday. I know it is. We'll probably hear something tomorrow. But don't be surprised if Ruben Amorim is gone next week. Don't be surprised. He might be gone next week, and then you can get your wish. You can have your 4-3-3 if we don't get Glasner, because he plays a 3 at the back, by the way. You can have your 4-3-3. You can have whatever you want. And listen, I will sit back. I'll put my feet up, and you will see what happens, guys. And I will love you guys. I love the guys who've been just talking about Ruben Amorim for weeks and weeks and weeks, if not months and months and months. Come back to me and say, Sal, you were right, because I guarantee you they won't. You know, I guarantee you they won't, because they still haven't done it with Erik ten Hag, you know? Sal, even my brother, at the moment, I really can't be asked with any of this shit. I've had a complete full of it. It's an absolute shit show. I have no optimism in any positivity whatsoever. Grayo, you know, you supported Man United a very long time, you know, and you know there's always a way to come back. You've been there, bro. You know that there's always a way with Manchester United. We've been through greater tragedies, mate. And, you know, with the Munich disaster, you know, in 1974, we were relegated. And you know that. You don't need me to tell you, Grayo, you know. We came from obscurity to becoming the best team in the world, not only once, but twice, 3 times, became the best team in the world. I will never give up hope, although things look very bleak at the moment, and they look very down at the moment. And I'm disillusioned about everything that's going on as well. I just feel like we're always concentrating on the wrong thing, at the end of the day. And I feel like we're going to get rid of the manager. Fine, we get rid of the manager. It's a results game. I understand that. But we're still going to be left, Grail, with the likes of Bruno, with the likes of Dalot, with Shaw, with all Maguire, and all these players still going to be at the football club. And the new manager comes in, is not going to be back, because I guarantee you that Ineos are not going to be looking at a manager that's going to want to spend money. He's going to want his own squad. They're going to be looking at a manager that doesn't want to spend money. That's what they're going to be looking at, and that's where it scares me. That is where Gareth Southgate comes into the equation. And as an England supporter, being from England, I know that I don't care what Gareth Southgate has done. He's one of the worst managers I've ever seen. It's ridiculous. Ciao, big up, Grayo. No manager can save this team. We need a complete overhaul of the squad. Unfortunately, we have an owner who had no clue how to operate the football department. We don't, Ciao, absolutely. We don't. Great comment. We don't have a department that knows about football. And this is exactly what we were worried about when they came to the football club. We knew that they have no clue about football. They're a cycling company. And the only experience they have at football is losing, like Nice, like Lausanne. These teams they've been losing with. They haven't really succeeded anywhere they've been when football is concerned. And that's what I would say. I mean, how can we trust them with a big football club, one of the biggest football clubs in the world? And again, an absolute farce, isn't it? An absolute travesty that we got them at our football club rather than we had an opportunity to get to Qatar in. I guarantee you would be in a much better position right now if we had Qatar in. I guarantee you that the likes of Luke Shaw would not be at this football club right now. And that's what I'm saying, But it is what it is. We have what we have, and we know that they're incapable. And I would like to see all those Ineos fanboys and fangirls to come out and start saying, you know what, they were wrong, because they were wrong. I'm waiting for the apologies from them. They were wrong. Blaming the manager is one thing. That is one part of what is going on at the moment. That is just one part of what's going on wrong at the moment. People not mentioning Bruno, some of the players that have been there for 12, 15 years. That's the problem. Maybe, just maybe, if we purchased a couple of midfielders, if we bought the right wing back and the left wing back, we wouldn't have to rely on Diego, Dalot, and Bruno in the midfield. We wouldn't have to do that. We would have more chinks to our armor. We would have more players there. Unfortunately, they didn't back him, and they only fixed the striker department, and that is it. Absolutely. Big up Ephraim, Sal. It's scary. They think. Big up Daryl. What's going on? We're done, mate. Simple. I'm not expecting anything from this team anymore. Let downs, a lot of them. They don't understand what this football club is about, Daryl. They have no clue what this football club stands for. They have no clue where this football club have come from, the adversity that this football club has come from. They have no idea of the shoulders that they are standing on right now, to have a platform that they have. They have no idea, and this is what I would say about a lot of those players. They're an absolute embarrassment, a lot of those players. And they embarrassed us last season, guys. They had a reprieve this season. They had a chance to make up for what happened, the wrongdoings of what happened last season. But I don't see that. I haven't seen that. They've just got worse and worse, to the point I'm thinking, do you know what? I would much rather play the under-21s, rather than playing Dalot, Shaw, Maguire, Bruno, and I've come to that point where I'm not bothered about, that anymore, about experienced players and stuff like that. I just said, bring in players who want to play for the football club. Bring in players who are hungry to play for the football club, Big up, Daryl. Emsky, I'm speechless with Amram sacking and the managers linked with us. We have become a sack manager team now. And that's something that we never have been. Obviously, we were with Sir Alex Ferguson 26, 27 years. So obviously, we're very lucky when it comes to that. But the problem is this, right? We're still going to be left with the same problems that have been there for a few years now. We're going to sack a new manager. We might even have a new manager bounce. Who knows? But ultimately, the bigger picture will be that we're just going to be back where we are, Amram sacking himself, he is, in regards to the Brunos and players like that. Everyone and their dog can see that Bruno shouldn't be playing in that midfield. We know that. I know that. But blaming just one person and being very one-dimensional in the thinking and just tunnel-visioned in what your opinions are, doesn't show me confidence in the footballing opinion, because we've been here before. And I keep banging on about the Eric Ten Hag thing. I did say it. I said it. Scroll way back. That we'll be here in a year. Don't worry. I said it back then. We'll be here in a year. We'll be here with a new manager, blah, blah, blah. And lo and behold, here we are, guys. The same situation, the same problems again and again. It's rinse and repeat. Rick Cobain, Conte is still available. Conte will not leave Napoli. He's not going to come to Manchester United. He's not interested to come to Manchester United. I already know that. He's not interested. Again, plays a free at the back, again. And, fouled at Tottenham. He won the league at Chelsea, but, in the Premier League, it's different. Conte relies on his players, his team. He's very on his team. You think that the Ineos are going to go out there and buy his team? They won't even buy Ruben Amorim's team, and Ruben Amorim is their guy. That is not even Ruben Amorim's team out there. What we saw yesterday is not Ruben Amorim's team. And Ruben Amorim is their guy. Conte won't come to Man United. As much as people want Conte, as many people want Conte, he's not coming to Man United. And I would say that right now. Look, Conte will be the top of the list, out of the list that we just said, if he was available. But I don't think he's going to leave Napoli to come to Man United. Dan, what's going on, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Don, sorry, what's going on? Bruno Maguire, Shaw, Dalot, they shouldn't be at the club. Believe me, Amorim sacked himself when it's 6 with them. But who is next? That's more scary. What a mess. The problem is, Don, is that we have these feelings that Ruben Amorim wants to leave the football club. Ruben Amorim doesn't want to stay at the football club anymore. And it looks like he's down tooling. So if that is the case, if there's an inkling of that, then sack Ruben Amorim, now, and just get the new manager in. Even if it's an interim manager, we need to... Look, guys, we're going to beat Sunderland. I think we're going to beat Sunderland. I don't think they're going to sack him next week, if I'm being real, if I'm being honest, if I was the betting man. I think they're going to wait to the Sunderland game. We're going to beat Sunderland. Of course, we're going to beat Sunderland, and then we're going to move on, ain't we? Then we're going to wait to the international break, and then we're going to play Liverpool. We're going to lose to Liverpool, and we're going to be back in square one again. This is the thing. No manager that's going to come in, guys, is going to beat Liverpool anyway. No manager that's going to come in is going to beat Liverpool at Anfield. No manager, no matter who we get in, Conte, Glasner, no one's going to do anything, guys, in regards to that. So we're going to beat Sunderland. I firmly believe we're going to beat Sunderland. If we don't beat Sunderland, it'll be a travesty, but I think we'll beat Sunderland. And then, let's forget about the Liverpool game. We got a few weeks to think about it, what we're going to do, what manager's going to come in. If Ineos have made up their mind, then go and do the job. Go and get a new manager. Do it now. Stop waiting around. What are you waiting for at the end of the day? Stop waiting and get it done. Ephraim, Sal, it's scary to think that the team will compete. That they think this team will compete. This is the delusions that you have with the ownership. This is the illusions that you have in ownership, that they actually think that this team is good enough to play. This team may coincidentally fluke the Champions League and get to the Champions League that they've done before. But every time we get in the Champions League, we don't do nothing. Why? Because we're not good enough for the Champions League. We're nowhere near good enough for the Champions League. You look at that league of the Champions League, right? Do you think we're getting in the top 8 in that league? I don't think so. And this is what the thing is. And they're so delusional. This is what I'm talking about, accountability. They want to revert the attention to Ruben Amorim to remove themselves from any accountability that there is. They want to remove themselves from any accountability. They want to say, no, you know what? It's down to Ruben Amorim. We gave him what he wants, blah, blah, blah. No, they fixed the attack, and that's all they did, right? At the end of the day. If Southgate comes in, we have Rashford back and both Maguire and Shaw starting every game. Just watch it. And Mason Mount, Tybook. Don't forget about Mason Mount. We will have him too. Don't worry about that. And we might as well write off the next 4 years, Tyborg, if we get Gareth Southgate. You're absolutely right. There will be Maguire. There will be Luke Shaw. These players, again, will be given a new lifeline. They'll be given another chance. Another chance. How many chances have these players have? How many managers have they sacked? If Ruben Amorim goes, I want them gone as well. I don't want to see those players. Like I said earlier, I think 5 or 6 players is the amount of players I'll keep. The rest of them are gone. I'm not interested anymore in regards to these players, especially the players that played yesterday. And yes, that is on Ruben Amorim. Of course, it's on Ruben Amorim. But I don't want anyone telling me that team weren't good enough to beat Brentford yesterday. Those players there have how many caps between them? How many caps does Maguire have for England? How many caps does Shaw have for England? Luke Shaw's played in the Euros final. 2. How many caps do these players have for their countries? Yeah, and this is what I'm talking about. There are no bums here. Dalot's had endless caps for Portugal. These players are no bums. They are experienced players. They shouldn't be getting outplayed like that. I mean, obviously, I take out De Ligt out of that because De Ligt I felt played pretty well. Bayindir exactly what I said in regards to Bayindir. You know, in regards to Bayindir, again, he's good at making some saves, but great keepers make consistent saves. They consistently make saves, and they don't make mistakes at big times. And Bayindir makes mistakes big times, guys, when we need in the most. William, don't really matter what we think of who's right or wrong. It's on Ineos. They didn't back them, our manager, but that's the full guy. Deep problems. Absolutely. Let's get Big Sam. He will fix it this time. Absolutely. Look, guys, I would prefer Big Sam to Gareth Southgate, Joe. I would prefer Big Sam to Gareth Southgate. At least Big Sam won't take any nonsense. You know what I mean? He won't be this politically correct maniac that Gareth Southgate is. I would definitely take Big Sam all day long. You know, absolutely. Instead of the managers that are being quoted. You know, I look at Glasner, I look at Iriola, and I look at them and I think, yeah, they're talented managers, young, talented managers, but they'll be sacked at Man United in a year. We know that these players will throw them under the bus. Wasn't Ruben Amorim a highly touted, talented manager? Was he not as well? You know what I mean? And this is what we're talking about, you know? We're just going around in circles, isn't it? Looks like Amorim is tired of the toxicity environment driven by the fan base, media, and players. Ruben Amorim's had enough, guys. Ruben Amorim's had enough. Do you blame him? Do you blame him for having enough? Look at the problems at this football club that he's had to deal with. Look at the problems he's had to deal with since he's been at this football club. The problems he's had to deal with since he walked into this absolute mess of a football club. Look at the problems he's had to deal with. And people forget this, don't they? In 8 months, they forget this. They forget all these problems, don't they? Now, I like people who have an opinion that is flexible, that, yeah, you can blame the manager, but you can also blame other parts of it, and you can also bring things into context and what the context is in regards to why things are happening. You know, I like it when I sit here, I read things like that, because I like people to have a balanced point of view, because I'm always in the middle of everything. People just one tunnel vision. They think that Ruben Amorim getting sacked is going to fix everything. Oh, my goodness me. You guys, I tell you right now, Ruben Amorim getting sacked is not going to fix anything. It's not going to fix it. We might get a new manager bounce. You think Man United are going to be where we're supposed to be? You know where Man United's supposed to be every season? We're supposed to be challenging for the league. We're the Real Madrid, the Bayern Munich of England. You know, we're supposed to be challenging for the league. You honestly think that a new manager's going to come in with this bunch of players, right, and bring Man United to the promised land, win Man United the Premier League? You honestly think that's going to happen? That's the bottom line here, right? You think Ineos are going to back him? You think they're going to back him? They're not going to back him. They can't even back their own guy. How are they going to back the new guy that comes in? It's ridiculous. They will. Xavi and Glasner is out, etc. after 8 months. Xavi lost to Eric Ten Hag in the Europa League, let me remind you. You know, and we got tactically outwitted by Eric Ten Hag. Let's not forget that. Glasner is a hipster manager again. And again, plays free at the back, you know, and manages Crystal Palace. And managing Crystal Palace is a completely different kettle of fish. As I've always said, to managing Manchester United, it's a completely different animal, managing Manchester United. You know, and this is what people don't understand. The shirt weighs heavy. The shirt weighs heavy. Big up Sanjay. Thank you so much for joining me, my friend. But it seems like King, the manager, sacked Bruno, Shaw, Harry Guard, Dalot, etc. Absolutely. Tyborg, the sentence "you don't know what was going on in the background in the last couple of months" is the biggest mystery to Amorim. Send us the message there, but we don't know what it is. You can imagine what it is, Tyborg. You know that as well as I do, that a lot of the managers that be sacked have signed, a declaration that they won't be spilling any beans in regards to what goes on behind the scenes. That's why no managers come out and speak about the problems at the football club, because they don't want you to know the problems at the football club. we don't know the problems at the football club to an extent that we know by detail, but you can only imagine from what's happening, from what we've seen on the outside, the problems that have been happening that we know about. And that those are the only problems that we know about. You know, if we knew the problems, we'd probably be something you'd be like, oh my goodness me, what the hell? You know, we'd probably be like that if we knew. But we don't know. And obviously, this is where we get into the realms of guesswork and, you know, and things like that. Looking at loads of managers and thinking about managers, I would ask the managers, I would ask the fan base, why would a manager come to Manchester United right now? Why would they leave the football club they are at right now and come to Manchester United? What's attractive right now about Manchester United? What is attractive about Manchester United? Why would anyone in their right mind want to come to this football club right now? Please tell me. You know, because I don't see anything. I see our history. I know we're still one of the biggest clubs in the world, but right now we are the most toxic football club in the world, as well as the biggest football club in the world. So why would any manager come in and carry that burden on their back and ruin careers? Because that's precisely what we do, isn't it? We ruin careers, especially managers. We ruin managers' careers. Don't get me wrong. Erik ten Hag. Erik ten Hag was a great manager before he came to Man United, wasn't he? Fantastic. Everyone wanted him. Ruben Amorim, great manager. Dynamic, modern, new manager. Everyone wanted him. Everyone wanted him. You know, here we are. What now, guys? We're going to the next one, to the next one, to the next one without actually fixing the problem. We're papering over the cracks. We're papering over the cracks, FC. That's what we are, you know? Stephen, good afternoon. Absolutely, my friend. Big up, Miles. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Good to see you. New manager, same old problems. Major change needed, and that players too. Peace, bro. Big up, Miles. Good to see you, my friend. I hope you're doing well. Really good to see you, guys. Absolutely. Amorim Systems has a flaw after watch Scarlet Report channel. Don't know who Scarlet Report is. APN, but it's nothing to do with the system. It's just an easy target. Sal, after that performance on Saturday, die-hard Man United fans now demand a home victory over Newly Pro. Sunderland and nothing sort of that with that. I mean, we will get a victory, Dan. Look, you know, we will get a victory on Saturday. We will, but the problem is we will lose to Liverpool, and we'll be back in square one, mate. Not to mention that we've got the likes of Tottenham coming up, West Ham coming up, Brighton coming up, teams that we notoriously over recent years have lost against. You know what I mean? And I don't know where we go from here. This season's been an absolute disaster. Man United are a disaster at the moment. And true, he'll get himself sacked. He will get himself sacked. I mean, why wouldn't you? If you're going to get 12 million, would you stay in this absolute mess? Who would? You know? I heard Southgate is quitting football and opening a fish and chip shop. But goodness me. The main issue is the team. Is Bruno Bruno Fernandes. Apologies for my language. Kenny, I understand that because no one is blaming Bruno Fernandes at the moment. I find it bewildering that no one has mentioned this worst captain in Manchester United's history right now. You know, people just stat padding their way to defending him. This guy is the biggest stat padder I've ever seen. People will do everything that, you know, to defend him. I know ex-players who used to play for Man United. One of them follows me on Twitter, John O'Kane, and follow him. He played at a time, 1994, 95, 96, when the class of 92 came through with David Beckham, Paul Scholes, and all them people. He played in the same team as them. And he said it as it is about Bruno Fernandes. He said it as it is, that, you know, he's a hero ball merchant, stat pad merchant, penalty merchant. Now, the best thing about Bruno Fernandes was his penalty taking. He can't take them anymore. So at the end of the day, people think he assists and that. But you've got to look at the context of those assists. Look at it, study it, and you understand it's not quite as potent or as impressive as you think, you know? Look at the nature of the chances. Danbro, Crystal Palace play Amorim system and they destroy Liverpool. It's our players in the system, proven fact. Absolute Danbro. There you go. Now people are saying, you know what they're saying now, guys? You know what they're saying now? Glasner can play the system better. Oh, really? Oh, really? Glasner can play the system better. Better than Ruben Amorim, who played it in the Champions League, was unbeaten, right? Who beat Man City 4-1. Better than that, right? Oh, okay. All right, mate. Like, you know, that's the thing. You know, this is the thing. We don't know what we want. We're just guessing for the new toy, the new thing. Look, I'm not sitting there saying Ruben Amorim should be sacked. He should be. Looking at results, he should be. But I'm also pointing at the fact that we need to get this right. We need to get this right And we need to get a manager in. And if a new manager comes in, if he is not backed, what's the point? Because Ruben Amorim is Ineos guy. Like I said, Ruben Amorim is Ineos's guy. He's their guy. No, this is their first managerial appointment. And they didn't back him. What makes us think that they're going to go and back the new manager? How delusional must we be? You know? Tyborg, there are people at some important positions at United that should also be looked at, who brought in Amorim, who brought in two number 10s. The leadership at United should also be questioned, not just Ruben. Yeah. If you're going to bring in the bottom line is, if you're going to bring in a manager like Ruben, you go all out and you back him. They didn't go all out. Like you said there, and I mentioned earlier about the two number 10s. Yeah, it's great to have two number 10s, but don't you think two number 10s is a luxury? It was a luxury. We got Xerxes, we got Mount, we got Bruno, you know, and we could have bought one of Mbeumo and Cunha. We could have bought one of them and concentrated on buying a midfielder. But regardless of that, if they couldn't afford to rebuild Manchester United, why the hell are they at this football club? I'm looking at Liverpool spending nearly $1 billion this summer, and they were already champions. Why did we get Ineos? If they couldn't afford to rebuild this football club, they couldn't afford to bring in a manager with a distinctive style of play, right? That is successful, by the way, and not back him with the players that he needs. They couldn't even get any players from Sporting Lisbon because we can't afford it. You know? Ephraim, Sal, it's not saying Bruno messed everything. Why we keep? I mean, many of us spoke about Bruno Fernandes during the summer about he should have left. We had people out there who play FC. They deny it, but they are play FC. You know, we never say anything wrong about their love child. And we said it that we need to move on. Man United have lost bigger players in the past. Obviously, we're looking at David Beckham, you know, Steve Bruce, Mark Hughes, Paul Ince. We've lost many, many players over the past. Why are we so infatuated and obsessed with Bruno Fernandes? You know, we got to move on from that. The obsession of players, player FC, needs to change. If we don't change this obsession with players, and it started when Pogba and Martial and all these players came into the football club, that this player FC cancer, that's what it is, came to this football club, entered this football club. You know, we need to start concentrating on the football club and not on individuals, right? And start looking at things and calling things with facts, not with, oh, his stat pad this way, stats this, stats that. Okay, all right, mate. But what has he won since he's been at Man United? Nothing. You know, as far as I'm aware, removing from the team will prove as a football team, right? I don't care his individual abilities. We will improve as a football team. Big up Rasta, hope you're doing well. Emski, I think this thing of Amorim changing the culture and the Man United is somehow affecting the players, so the pitch is how they are striking against it. Emski, you know what you say there is a great comment, because he is trying to change the culture at the football club. He is trying to do that. And you make a very important comment there in regards to the players that don't want it. Because maybe guys, because remember the story about Luke Shaw and the physiotherapist. Luke Shaw used to turn up late for his physiotherapy sessions. So Luke Shaw used to buy the physiotherapist a bottle of champagne so that it's hush-hush champagne, basically, so he doesn't say anything. That is what we're talking about. Maybe Ruben Amorim's trying to change that culture. You know, maybe he's trying to do that and they don't like it. Absolutely. Maybe they don't like it. Maybe they're rebelling against it. You know? But it's up to Ruben Amorim to identify those players that are doing that. And we all know who they are because they've been there many, many years. We know who they are. It's up to him to identify those players who are doing this, right? And move them at the football club. You know? And this is why we needed Qatar. You know? Good evening, Peter. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Good to see you. Hope you're well. I agree 100%, brother. Sacking Amorim will make no difference whatsoever. We all know who the poison is in the team. And until they are gone along with our shit owners, then we are going nowhere. Grayo, absolutely. You know as well as I do, Grayo, we called it before it even happened, didn't we? We called it. Grayo called it. I called it. We spoke about Bruno. We spoke about this. People were backing him like their life depended on it. And we're saying, no. He's not, he's a legend, they were saying to me. Don't think I've forgotten what these people were saying. They were calling him a legend to me, to Grayo, who's seen legends, who's seen proper legends at this football club. calling Bruno a legend, goodness me, you might as well call bloody, Luke Chadwick or Ben Thornley a legend, for goodness sake. At least they won a league. It's madness. Peter, big up Peter, by the way. Yes, I know that Amram is always poor in his selection, but these players needs to be investigated because 95% of the Man United is players. Look at what Palace is doing. Absolutely. Peter, you make a great point, mate. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. Crystal Palace, right? Crystal Palace don't have as good players as we do. Look at their team. All right, they have a few good players here and there, maybe Adam Wharton and that, but there's one or two good players. The rest of them are not as good as Man United players, not paid as much as Man United players. The problem what I had yesterday, Peter, is that we didn't only lose to Brentford, we got destroyed against Brentford, and we should have lost 5 or 6-1. Now, that's not down to the manager, guys. No good player, no matter who you bet. Like, guys, let me give you an example, right? Let me give you an example. If we got Real Madrid, this current Real Madrid team, right? And we put them into a 3-4-2-1 formation. Do you think they'll be getting thumped 5 against Brentford, or should have been thumped 5 against Brentford? No, they'll still win the game. They'll still win the game. And Barcelona and PSG, they'll still win the game. Why? Because they're professionals. And that's why they know how to win football matches. They're winners. Zinedine Zidane didn't care if he was playing in a back 3, a back 4, a back 5. He didn't care about that. He made things happen. I come from a generation of Lilian Thuram, Marcel Desailly, players of that ilk, Jaap Stam, Nemanja Vidic, who just got on with it. He just got on with it, and just doesn't matter about the system. They just got on with it and just won football matches. Because ultimately, that is what it's all about, isn't it? Winning football matches. Great comment, Peter. Thank you so much for joining me today, my friend. William, we need Roy Keane as an assistant in that change room. Absolutely, Roy Keane. I mean, lots of people talk about Roy Keane and they think it's a joke. They think I'm joking when I talk about Roy Keane. And I'm 100% in regards to Roy Keane. I am. I think that would be an absolute game changer to get Roy Keane in there. We need a personality like that. We need someone who's going to give him a kick up the backside. That's what we need, Big up everyone. Big up GK. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. The same cycle, mate. It's the cycle I've been talking about. I posted something on Twitter a couple of years ago about the cycle. And look, I'll post it again. I'll retweet it again about sacking managers. And it's coming true every single time because we do the same thing around the road. We have that little manager boost when we get a new manager in. We're all excited. Lose one game. And then look, even after the first game, we lose the first game, you see the toxicity creeping in already. The toxicity is creeping in, even after the first game, Galinios Akulas, absolutely, Kenny. Absolutely. I want Amram to stay and finish a full season and then assess everything then. I don't think he's going to stay, though, Dan, as much as I think he should. He won't. I actually think he wants to go. I got a feeling, Dan, that he wants to leave the football club. I got a feeling that he doesn't want to be here anymore. And do you blame him? Do you blame him? I don't blame him. There's lots of mess at Man United at the moment, and get your money and run. And fair play to him. If I was Ruben Amram, though, before the season started, to preserve my reputation, I would have just left. But obviously, you can't tell him to turn away from 12 million, Kenny, Bruno relegated us to the Champions League. So did Onana, absolutely. He did. He relegated us in the Champions League, not just only. Yeah, he did, exactly. Bruno made the mistake that cost us the Europa League final, mate. And people want to forget about that. They just want to think about Onana and they want to think about Luke Shaw. That's all they want to think about. But who gave away the ball in midfield? Who gave away the ball to create the corner against Arsenal that lost us the game against Arsenal? You surprise, Bruno Fernandes. Who missed a penalty because they got intimidated by a referee who gave him a little nudge on the back? Bruno Fernandes. Who gave away one goal? Who didn't cover his man and blamed a kid in the Euro against Man City? He's meant to cover Rodri, but he didn't cover him. Bruno Fernandes. Who missed the penalty and played poorly against Brentford this season? Bruno Fernandes. And that is our captain, guys. That's our captain. You're meant to look up to your captain. You're meant to be inspired by your captain, I'm sorry. This guy couldn't inspire anyone. He couldn't inspire anyone. He's the most uninspiring captain I've ever seen in my life. GK. And with Southgate, we'll bring Kane, Calvin Phillips. Oh, my goodness me. Can you imagine? Newcastle game started at my end. Big up, Kenny. I've not watched it. I'm not going to do the watch along today, of course, but the Newcastle game has kicked off, I think. Who do you want to win that? Wouldn't mind a draw. If Newcastle win, I'll be gutted because, you know, Aston Villa beat Fulham, by the way, by 3-1. Great result for Aston Villa, of course. Did Sancho play in that game? Probably not. No, didn't make an assist either. What was the lineup for Aston Villa? Yeah, Sancho didn't play. Of course he didn't play. Great win for Aston Villa. He didn't play. We ain't changing much regardless of a sack. No. Big up, Kenny. We're not changing much, Kenny. We're not going to change. We bring in the new manager. We'll be here in a year. I've completely lost hope. Grayo said it there. I completely lost hope with any resurgence of this football team. I completely lost hope. Unless we do a complete overhaul, a complete cultural reset, I can't see anything changing. I really can't. I think what we need, and this is not slacking off Ruben Amorim. I think what we need for now is basics. We need basics. We need to throw out complicated football out the window because these players have proven that they can't play complicated football. So what we need to do is simplify the game a little bit for those dum-dums to understand, those low IQ players that we have at the football club to understand. We need to simplify it for them, you know, and move on from there. Glenios are the main bomb squad. Absolutely. They're probably the king and queen of the bomb squad, isn't it? Southgate, can you imagine? Mate, the toxicity will just continue, you know, already. Joe, so I watched Manchester United females earlier today. It's a fantastic result. We beat Liverpool 2-0. But my point is that women play their heart out for the club and they play for their manager. Do you know what it is, Joe? I'm not going to say it like this, but it's not the only thing. But I want to say it like this. I want to know your opinion. It's because they don't get paid as much. It's because they're not rich before they're 16 years old and they're rich already, multi-millionaires. A player will leave the under 21s, right? Get into the Man United squad, get a new contract, get a signing on fee of £1 million, whatever it is, and already be rich before he's even kicked a ball for the first team. Now, the more rich these players get, the more less inclined they are to dive into dangerous tackles or win headers and stuff like that, like they used to do in the old days. The women's football team, and congratulations to them, by the way, because they're actually showing up the men at the moment in regards to the football. They're getting paid a fraction of what these Man United players are getting paid. So obviously, this is their bread and butter. This is their job. And they don't get life-changing money like the Man United players do. They ain't rich before they've kicked a ball. You know, and that's the difference with it. And that is the problem at Man United. Overly pampered players. I remember when I used to play football as a young lad at Hackney Marshes in East London. And there used to be scouts on the side of the pitch. Because they knew that was the place to find talent. They knew that's the place to find the next big thing. It's like they found David Beckham there, you know, and things like that in Hackney Marshes and that, you know. So they know that's where the talent's going to be. These days, these players, they're not discovered. Their daddy or their mummy is an ex-something, an ex-owner of the club, an ex-footballer of the club, and they get an easy ride into the first team. They've already got a rich parents and that takes away the edge straight away. Like you think about Cristiano Ronaldo and you think about Cristiano Ronaldo used to sweep streets. You know? He used to sweep streets in Madeira. You know, and that's what we're talking about. That's the level. What's his son doing? Getting an easy ride, a fast track into first team football, the next professional footballer at the biggest academies in the world. Of course he's going to become a footballer. Of course. The grassroots football is what we called it. The grassroots football is over. And these players currently don't understand and don't care what it is to play for Manchester United. You know? We got players that played for Man United in 1958, died in a plane crash, right? Died in a plane crash. Man United would have went on to be the most successful team in the history of football with that team. Even though that happened, they still went out 3 years later with a depleted squad, with the manager who survived the plane crash and won the league. 10 years later, they won the European Cup, the first English side to win the European Cup. This is what we're talking about, standing on the shoulders of giants. This is what we're talking about. So when those players can't be bothered to get themselves up for a game against Brentford, when I was a kid, Brentford were in the Division 3, League 2, then I don't think they should be playing for Man United ever again, because they certainly don't understand Man United and they don't understand what we are and where we come from. Alex Ferguson used to drill that into the players, non-stop, drill it into the players. Now, I like the new look of the new training facilities. I love the look of the new training facilities, but I want to see more. I want to see more of the 1958. I don't want to see the Champions League trophy. I don't want to see the FA Cup or the Premier League. I want to see Duncan Edwards. I want to see these players on the walls in that new training facility. I want these players to, when they walk into that training facility, that brand new state-of-the-art training facility, I want them to see Duncan Edwards. I want them to see the victims of the Busby Babes, the 1958 Munich disaster. That's what I want to see them. I don't want to see the glory that these players can only dream of achieving. I want them to understand when they walk into that training facility who they are playing for. Morning, Scott. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Good to see you, mate. Hope you're blessed. Of course, good to see you again. Ruben wants out. I think so, Scott, as well. And do you blame him? Sal, I'm so down and so upset, so dissolute. I followed the US of United for 55 years, and apart from being relegated in 1984, I can't remember a more hopeless or help. It's getting worse, isn't it, Grayo? It's getting worse, mate. We need to put a stop to it now, and we all know what we need to do, and certain things need to be changed ASAP. You know, and if not, Grayo, we will have another 1974. No one is too good to go down. No one is too good to go down. We will get another 1974 before you know it. You know, before you know it, we will get another 1974. Joe, and for me, nothing will change until the Glazers sell its players and the owners what are toxic about this club. Ever since 2005, where I was wearing my green and gold scarf, you know, we knew that the Glazers were bad news for me. And, you know, what I don't like is people who facilitated the Glazers, people who support them wholeheartedly, blindly. And you know, I don't understand it. And there's some of them have big platforms. And everything that Ineos do that facilitate the Glazers is okay. You know, they make excuses for them. You know, they think about the context. But when the manager on that is concerned, no context. No context at all. Nah, it's the manager. Nothing to do with context. You know? Big up, Joe. Great comments, my friend. Scott, midfield is a major issue. I hate to tell all of you, Mainu is not a number 6, a number 8, or a 10. He is too slow and cannot track. His skill match Germany, Italy, and Bruno is not interested anymore. Scott, you know, at the end of the day, I don't know until he plays again, because I look at the first season and he's relatively good. He is a little bit over. The topic about Mainu is a little bit exaggerated. We need to see more. Man United, we all know what Man United needed, Scott. Man United needed a couple of midfielders in there, didn't we? You know, before anything, Man United needed to fix that midfield. That's what Man United needed to do. Before anything, they needed to fix that midfield, the engine of the team. They needed to fix it. Our midfield is not good. We know that. You know, Mainu's up in the air. Right, maybe Mainu's good in international football, maybe that, but I don't know. I've seen good performance for him. I've seen bad performances from him, but I haven't seen a consistent Mainu for a long time now. The last time I saw Kobe Mainu play well was Lyon in the Champions League, in the Europa League, last year. That's the only time, you know? Have to wait and see. Scott, what the hell has Yoro done? Why is he out of the Sunday night? Should delete your heaven in the back. You know what happened, Scott? Bruno Fernandes took it upon himself to throw Lenny Yoro under the bus. He threw him under the bus. And he gets, now that Lenny Yoro is the scapegoat. That's what happened. You know, he's a scapegoat, unfortunately. Guys, I want to thank everyone for joining me today. Thank you guys for joining me. Let me just see if there's anything I'm missing here. Thank you, everyone who's joined me. Really appreciate everyone. Guys, I will be back tomorrow for Breaking Dawn. Please don't forget to join me, guys, for Breaking Dawn. And don't forget to smash a like on the way out, guys. Don't forget to put your notifications on and all that lovely stuff. Guys, see you tomorrow. I'm Sal Warner. This is Chatterbox. See you then, guys. Peace.
Bye.